Regulations 2021. As a result, you are required to apply for a curfew pass from the Office of the Commissioner of Police if contacted to provide transportation services to nationals and residents during the state of emergency for the period from Sunday the 27th of June to Sunday 11th July 2021. And for those of you who love cricket, want to hear about cricket, we're a ways off still, another 2 months off, but just so that you know, cricket will be played just a little bit louder this year, with some spectators allowed in the stands for the hosting of the Hero Caribbean Premier League T20 cricket tournament in St. Kitts and Nevis later this summer. The plans are afoot. Don't know what will happen by then, from now till then, but plans are afoot. The 2021 Hero Caribbean Premier League will get underway on August 28th and will run until September 19th. All 33 matches will be played, or expected to be played, here at Warner Park Cricket Stadium. The other teams, of course, Barbados Tridents, the Knight Riders, the Amazon Warriors, Talawas, the Zooks, of course, our Patriots. Initially, when negotiations got underway for the hosting of the CPL 2021, it was done on the basis that there would be no spectators, as had been done in Trinidad last year. Since then, the decision has been made to allow 50% capacity for spectators. These spectators will, of course, have to be fully vaccinated. The St. Kitts Marriott Resort has been named as the official hotel for CPL, and members of the CPL cohort will arrive in St. Kitts by mid-August in order to facilitate quarantining ahead of the start of the tournament. Minister of Sport, the Honorable John Powell, has said that the preparations for the 2021 hosting of CPL is well on the way. Don't know what will happen, but we're planning just in case. From Haiti, Doctors Without Borders said on Monday it had closed the hospital in Haiti's capital, Port-au-Prince, after it was hit by gunfire at the weekend, a gloomy sign of an escalation of violence in that city. Luckily, no one was wounded in the attack on the clinic in Port-au-Prince, which has been run by the Nobel Peace Prize winning charity since 2006 and provides critical care to the poor. The area is now effectively under siege by armed gangs, and Doctors Without Borders said it could no longer keep caring for population without putting its staff in danger. The facility has been evacuated and patients transported to other clinics. The safety of our personnel is priority number one because we cannot care for others if our own staff is at risk. So said the head of the mission. She added she did not believe the group was directly targeted in the attack. The impoverished Caribbean nation, which is deep in political and security chaos, has been a marked uptick. There's been a marked uptick in the number of kidnappings for ransom by armed gangs, and is also facing an increase in the number of COVID-19 cases. It's a story coming out of DC about the Cubans. The Cuban government, they say, is committing systematic human rights abuses against independent artists and journalists. So says Human Rights Watch. They released a video on some of the abuses. Cuban authorities have jailed and prosecuted several artists and journalists who are critical of the government. Police and intelligence officers have routinely appeared at the homes of other artists and journalists, ordering them to stay there, often for days and even weeks. The authorities have also imposed temporary targeted restrictions on people's ability to access cell phone data. Singing a song that the government does not like or reporting the news independently is enough to get you detained in Cuba, so says Human Rights Watch. And that's it. That's a look at what's happening around us. Here at home, today, June 30th, it is the final day to take advantage of the remaining vaccine before its expiration after today. So if you are not vaccinated as yet, or you're waiting your second dose and it's been 4 weeks already, go and get that second dose today before it runs out. If you have not been vaccinated at all, you can, and you have made the decision, you can go and get that first dose today, and the second dose will be in the next shipment. Alright, so today the facilities are open for that purpose if you choose to do so. Alright, okay. That's a look at what's happening around us. And there's a whole lot of news, by the way, coming out of the continent of Africa. There's a whole lot of conflicts and, all kinds of stuff coming out of there. I mean, just reading so much of it. But we'll get to some of that later in the week. Also, I know there was supposed to be a meeting of the Assembly tomorrow that has been cancelled. So there's no parliamentary session tomorrow. All right. Some people, speaking of vaccines, you talk about vaccines and debate and argue against vaccine or for vaccines. Some of the discussion tend to go towards where it's from, and I know some people are waiting for, they made a decision to wait for the next shipment or wait for the next one, next vaccine, a different vaccine, all of that. And some people's concern is about where the vaccine is from, what it has in. I mean, you can hear a whole bunch of stuff about the vaccines. I guess they're seeking information. The question about where it's from, though, is a little concerning to me, or who the manufacturer is, without regard for, say, the efficacy, then that is a little more concerning to me than some of the other decision-making processes that people use. So we talked about this before, but I'm hearing it still, so figure I should just say a few things about that. The Oxford AstraZeneca, which is the one that we're using, and it's being used widely. Yes, you can pick out some countries near us that's not using it as yet. The United States, for example. It's not been approved yet by their FDA, but it's approved by international organizations, and it's being used in more countries than it's not, really. The Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine, developed by, as the name implies, Oxford University and AstraZeneca. Oxford University, easy. AstraZeneca, though, may not be too familiar, but from the outset. But if I tell you something about it, then it will jog your memory and you might understand it. Because AstraZeneca is really a global science-led biopharmaceutical company, and it focuses on the discovery, the development, the commercialization of many prescription medicines, primarily for the treatment of diseases in 3 different therapy areas: oncology, cardiovascular, renal and metabolism, and respiratory and immunology. The company is based in Cambridge in the UK. It operates in over 100 countries and its innovative medicines are used by millions of patients worldwide. So if you haven't heard about AstraZeneca, it's probably because you haven't read the labels of some medicines that you have taken. People want to read them now, but they have not read them. But AstraZeneca has been on a lot of those labels. The research for this COVID-19 vaccine was done mainly by Oxford University and the Oxford Vaccine Group. So once the vaccine was developed, they tested for safety and efficacy by Oxford and AstraZeneca. Once they're satisfied, they seek approval. It gets the approval of the appropriate agencies. It now has to be manufactured after that. And the manufacturing of this vaccine has to be large enough to supply the world. So we're talking about huge quantities. And it has to be manufactured in a cost-effective manner and then distributed. There's where India comes into the mix. Now, India has been in the news lately because they themselves are struggling with the COVID-19. But India has long been a manufacturing hub for vaccines. You may not know that. Even before this pandemic. And so, therefore, they naturally have become a strategic partner in the global inoculation against COVID-19. The fact is, India is a vaccine powerhouse. You might be surprised to learn that most of the world's vaccines have historically come from India. And like I said, even before this COVID-19, that country produced up to about 60% of the world vaccines, some of which you and I have taken in our lifetime. And they can do so at a relatively low cost. India's huge production capacity gave analysts the confidence that the country was able to provide vaccines to other nations. India has kept its pledge to send vaccines to neighboring countries. And they have already sent some 15 point something million doses to more than 17 countries. The Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine, then, is being manufactured in India by the Serum Institute of India, which is the world's largest manufacturer, supplying the Indian government, but also to a large number of low and middle income countries. At this point, India now being in their situation, has got to hold on to it. But it said it's producing more than 50 million doses a month. AstraZeneca is working with its global partners to continue building manufacturing capacity of up to 3 billion doses of the vaccine globally in this year, and that will be on a rolling basis. The vaccine, AstraZeneca, can be stored, transported, and handled in normal refrigerated conditions for at least 6 months and administered within existing healthcare settings, which is another issue. Talk about all kinds of other vaccines, but AstraZeneca fits the bag in terms of how we can store it. Because some of the other vaccines that people talk about have to be stored at some very low temperatures, which we don't have the capability. A lot of us in this region and some other places don't have that capability. If we have to, I guess we will have to, but AstraZeneca fits the bag in terms of its safety, its efficacy, and the way it can be stored. So AstraZeneca continues to engage with different governments, multilateral organizations, and other partners around the world to ensure broad and equitable access to the vaccine at no profit for the duration of the pandemic. So there you have it, just a little background on Oxford University and AstraZeneca, the company. So, believe it or not, you have taken a lot of the medicines that came from AstraZeneca and a lot of the medicines that came from India and manufactured in India. You just don't know it. Now you know. All right. That's going to do it for my take this morning. 465-2555 and 718-577-2916 is the overseas number, if that is more convenient for you. What we're going to do is we're going to take a break. When we come back on the other side, feel free to join me in conversation right here on Frank and Candid.
Come to Sun Pharmacy for all your prescription medication and healthcare supplies. 2 convenient locations: Keon Street next to the Chinese supermarket and in the food court at Port Zante. Sun Pharmacy, we care about your health. Telephone 466-1074 or 466-1077. Sun Pharmacy, your pharmacy. Sun Pharmacy accepts all bank cards and medical insurance plans from Nagico Insurance, Sagico Insurance, and National Caribbean Insurance.
Refresh and win $10,000 cash with Coca-Cola. Yes, you could be the lucky winner of $10,000 cash when you enjoy a 591 ml Coca-Cola Original Taste or 591 ml Sprite. Look under the special yellow cap to find your unique code. Promotion runs May 21st to August 13th. Terms and conditions apply. See press and in stores for details. Coca-Cola, open for better. Please follow all COVID-19 protocols when redeeming prizes.
All right, welcome back to Frank and Candid. I am Tony Nass, and this morning it's a wet morning out there, but you're home, so you're not going to get wet anyway. Use the time wisely. Lots of things you can do, right? You can drink at home too, you know, so don't worry about it. Everything will be okay. All right, we're talking about just some information, as we all want, on the AstraZeneca and Oxford and all of that. Let's go to the phone. Say good morning. Welcome to Frank and Candid. Good morning, caller. You're live.
Good morning, Tony.
Hey, good morning.
That's the same school that Sam went to in England.
I believe he went to Oxford. I believe so, you know. I mean, now that
I was living on Oxford Street.
Now you mention it, I'm not sure.
Oh, you ain't sure?
I'll have to ask him.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, Tony, you know what is so serious and deadly about this whole thing? You know, you get scared as a young person, as an old person, and in between, right? When you stand up and you see 3 doctors fighting down other medical performers and so on, like the people them who taking care of the vaccine and making sure people get healthy and get care. And you got 3 medical doctors fighting them down. You wonder where you stand. You wonder if you go up in the hospital today or tomorrow And somebody up there ain't like you because of the way you talk towards the vaccine. Talk good about it and different thing. If you're going to get the right treatment and all of that. You know, it's a dangerous situation we're living in. You understand me? And I'm glad how you open up this thing because I don't know if you see what I see concerning Africa. But when I look at Africa this morning on BBC and them places and so on, to see you have your children and you send them to school, and the same black Africans and them going in there and taking up the children them and carry them and gone in the woods with them. And do them all kind of things for no reason at all. You understand me? And then one propagandist from St. Kitts living the States, they come on and talk all kind of thing about Africa, like Africa is so great. Okay, thank you, Tony.
All right, thank you. Let's hope that is not the case. There's the Hippocratic oath. Do no harm, right? Back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, Mr. Knight.
Good morning.
I have promised to follow up on something that I put out, and I asked a question. Not to you, but I asked a question. So forgive me if it came across in a kind of bad way.
Mm-hmm.
But we have grown up with the term referring to persons in our community, unaccomplished persons, I might add, as like, you are a worthless good for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And before I go into that worthless good for nothing and what it come down to us, and even if we were to go into an Oxford or Cambridge dictionary, we would have seen that the origins of what the English has become has been extrapolated or borrowed from other languages, especially Latin and Greek. But the Latin and Greek are not the only languages, but that's their world, and so that's how those dictionaries came down to us today in the English-speaking and Latin-speaking communities and the like. So I'm going to make a quotation from an astute historian. His name is Will Duran, and he wrote in 1935 his book entitled The History of Civilization or Oriental Heritage. And he made a quote here in terms of comparison of what came down to us. But this specifically referred to philosophy and all things philosophy. And I'm going to quote. He said, historians of philosophy have been wrong to begin their story with the Greeks. The Hindus who believe that they have invented philosophy, and the Chinese who believe that they perfected it, smile at our provincialism. It may be that we were all mistaken, for amongst the most ancient fragments left to us by the Egyptians are writings that belong, however loosely and untechnically, under the rubric of moral philosophy. The wisdom of the Egyptians was a proverb with the Greeks, who felt themselves children besides this ancient race. I like to requote that one by saying, who felt themselves neophytes besides this ancient race, referring to this ancient race as the Egyptians, whom the Greeks got their proverbs from. And let us go into, you are a worthless good for nothing. Because this is history. When the Greeks came to Africa a long time ago, you name them, Socrates, Aristotle, all of those genres of what they say, father of medicine, father of quotation, like eat, drink, and be merry because tomorrow you die, and all these things that we inherited today. They used to come down, and they came down and they studied all these genres and went back and established. One of the things that was established was pilgrimage. You come and you worship God, just like how the temple in Jerusalem come and worship the day of Pentecost, with so many people came and worship. The Ethiopian eunuch came to Jerusalem to worship. It was established. Muslims today in the Islamic faith go to Mecca to worship, and all of that was established. The Greeks wanted, instead of coming back and forth to Egypt to worship, they wanted to establish a god in their domain, in their space, their geographic space. So they asked for a god of love. But all of everything was occupied. The god of rain, we saw rain this morning, the god of the wind, the god of the trees, the god of the stars, the god of the planetary bodies. All of these things have entities, deities that govern. In Revelation, you say whether you want to take it a metaphoric form or what, you say the angels that holding back the four winds of the earth from not blowing on the earth. So everything has its limit, its boundaries. The sea, the waters have its limits, its boundaries by deities, energies, meteors, laws, Odons, Orishas, whatever name you want to call them in whatever religion or spirituality. It is that the way the Most High established things to be. So they asked for a God of love that was already been established. They asked for a God of water, they asked for a God of wind, sun, all of this was established. They decided that, hey, they're not going to go back empty-handed. So what they did end up with? A God of, a worthless, a God of void, a God that does not perform, a worthless God for nothing. And that is how the word good come down to be, from God, G-O-D, to G-O-O-D. The worthless God for nothing that the Greeks got. Today, I was patronized Oriental businesses. I was going to the Chinese store, I was going to the Indian store, and I wouldn't have noticed something. They uphold their Buddha and they uphold their Vishnu. That is what they are. And those Buddha and Vishnus resemble them. My question is, what resemble us as what we uphold? Does this God of what, this God, this worthless God for nothing, is in our domain today? Does this worthless God of nothing, God for nothing, the voidless God, is in our domain today?
All right, Colin. All right.
Because we don't seem like we know who we are and where we are, and we're calling on something that does not give us no assistance in our life.
All right.
So here today we are faced with something, and we cannot call on God to assist us and to protect us from evil.
Let's go to the next caller. Good morning. Welcome to Frank and Candid. Good morning, caller. You're live. Okay. Let's try the next one.
It's especially the most.
Yes. Good morning. Go ahead.
Greetings in the name of our great African ancestors, especially the most honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey and Queen and Zinga. Blessed them, my beloved African brother. How are you, the family?
I'm doing well. What about you?
Good man. It just sizzling, you know.
Okay, all right.
But I don't like the air condition, but I got to put it on, man, you know. Got to put it on today. Now, beloved brother, let me just maybe take about 5 seconds also to pick up a patriotic brother, Mr. Politics. I mean, sometimes you disagree with, you know, but that's beside the point. He's still an African brother, and he have contributed so far, beloved. Stand up for his country with the great ancestor Elder Washi, you know, who bring down that boy from St. Paul's and his cabal. That was the beginning when they used to demonstrate. And the brother have stood the course, mate. And, brother, last year, this brother with his meager financial, you know, thing that he ever put aside, he donated financially to the COVID cause, beloved. And come this year, last week, Thursday, to be exact, he donated again out his little financial resources. So, brother Politics, I big you up, man. I hope others will do the same out of your meager resources, brother. It's not how much you give, it's what the intention. You're very patriotic. We don't always agree, but that beside the point, my brother. Brother, I love you, and keep on doing what you're doing, beloved. Don't be distracted by anyone. No, brother Tony, let me get to you now, beloved. Beloved, what is going on the African continent, especially in Kush, where the Greeks call Ethiopia, again, my Rastafarian brothers. A lot of you know this, but you all still continue to refer to Ethiopia. Ethiopia is not an African word. It's a Greek word. Regional name for that region is Kush, Kush. But it's a shame and a disgrace. What's going on in Nigeria is a shame and disgrace. What's going on in the Caribbean still? South and Central America, North America, Europe, but some Africans is killing Africans. It's a shame and a damn disgrace to see our ancestors fought for our liberation and to see that some Africans are stealing one another for the utter nonsense. Make no sense, beloved brother. But that is the point, beloved. When Caucasians kill one another, I don't hear these Negroes, these, self-haters, black faces who are suffering from inferiority complexes. I don't hear them say anything. No, they shut them out, beloved brother. Only when it comes to their own people. If you're going to say a thing, you talk the whole truth, beloved. That's why I have no respect for quote-unquote Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch. Because they only go around in 99.9 of the cases. They always on the African continent talking about what's going on on the African continent, what's going on in Cuba, rest of the Caribbean. Boy, you don't hear them say very little say about what's going on in places like Saudi Arabia. What's going on here in North America, especially the U.S. What's going on in Europe, especially England. You don't hear nothing from these two-mouth people, man, who speak from both sides of their mouth. When it comes to their people, they keep their mouth shut, closed. And then you got these Negroes, these self-haters, anything humans, quote-unquote human rights watch say, they run with it. Anything Amnesty International say, they run in it. Amnesty International and human rights, mind your own business and South African people business. We are the creators of civilization. We civilize all of the races. So we don't need you and no other race to come and tell us what to do.
Caller.
Yes, beloved.
Let me ask you a question, though.
Go ahead.
Speaking of Human Rights Watch and Amnesty International.
So-called Amnesty International, go ahead.
The things that they're reporting from Africa or anywhere else, you have no concern about them?
But I didn't outline before I came to them what's going on in the African continent? But I deplore.
So you just have a problem with the messenger.
Other.
You just have a problem with the messenger.
No, it's not the messenger. The so-called messenger must speak widely.
Okay.
Speak on what's going on the African continent. Speak on what's going on in America. North America, especially the U.S., and what's going on in England, where our people are being brutalized, systemic racism. How come you don't hear so-called Human Rights Watch and so-called Amnesty International speak about that? Brother, come on, that's the double standard that these Caucasian people have. If you're going to speak truth, you speak truth across the board. Brother, you always hear me just tell it like it is when it comes to people killing one another.
Okay.
Beloved, that's the problem.
Okay.
I have with them, beloved.
Gotcha.
Speak the truth at all times across the board, beloved. But I'll continue to listen, keep up the great talks. Pan-Africanism and perish. One love, my beloved brother.
All right, one love. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to Frank and Candid. Good morning, caller.
Yes, hello, Ravi.
Yes, good morning.
Yeah, this is Ras Kalunji.
Hey, Kalunji.
Yeah, I realize you're talking about the vaccine this morning. You started out talking about where the vaccine is manufactured and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I want to ask a question. Why there's a patent on it?
Well, is there... I think all the vaccines, people who develop these vaccines, they apply for patents. I mean, that's their work. I mean, I agree they should lift them, free them up. But, I mean, that's normal to have a pattern. But I think the point you're getting to is that they should free them up so that other people can manufacture and we get more of it available. I can live with that argument. But as to why there's a pattern, of course there's a pattern, because you develop something. That's how you protect your interest in that. But it's a pandemic, and I would agree that they should, in this case, free up the pattern so that we can make more, or other people can make. Back to the phones. Say good morning. Welcome to Frank and Candid.
Hello?
Good morning, caller. You're live.
Yes, Mr. Myers.
Mm-hmm.
Good morning.
Good morning.
To the two last callers before Raskalunji, Nabu and one of the African brothers here. He mentioned the Hindu, the Indians, and the Chinese that are here. And when he goes in their store, they're burning their incense to represent, their belief in their spiritualities, so to speak. Now, Mr. Nias, I read a letter to you on air about Lord Macaulay, letter that he wrote to the British Parliament in 1835. Now, in Macaulay's letter to the British Parliament, he outlined what the British would not be able to do unless he broke the backbone of the African people, and the area that he said he walked the length and breadth was in Nigeria. Now, when Macaulay observed what was happening in Nigeria, our people had something that we could identify to our spirituality. That is what Macaulay was spoke about to the British Parliament, and that is exactly what they did. They broke our backbone. They broke our education system, our spirituality with the Most High. The caller who mentioned about the Indians and the Chinese and what they're burning in their store, they are burning to their deity, what they know. Now, they broke us, and today we are now, it's like what he said, our vibration are going to the worthless God for nothing that the Greek implement and brought across to our reality today. Mr. Nice, you have heard me say, unless we unplug from their narrative, our prayers would not arise where it ought to go to deliver us from this bondage that they implement and have us under. Now, one of your earlier callers said that he saw what he saw on BBC. What he need to understand, that who is behind these Africans who are killing and kidnapping Africans. I can tell you Boko Haram, Mr. Myers. You know Boko Haram. You know of Boko Haram. The French is giving Boko Haram ammunition and telling these lewd Africans, go kill some villagers. Why? Because the satellite that they have in the sky over the continent of Africa can pinpoint the minerals. And then when the people in that village, in that area where they are killing Africans, they flee, they come in and do the illegal mining. So when we're talking about what we're seeing on BBC, BBC is not going to show us, and the caller Nabu spoke about, amnesty. Let amnesty speak the truth as to why Boko Haram, who is giving Boko Haram ammunition to go and kill their own people. It's a sad state, but they are benefiting from it. And we need to condemn this kind of behavior, because they don't care whether we live or die. They have their mindset on the mineral, and that is their survival. We need to condemn this behavior, Mr. Myers. Thank you for taking my call.
All right, thank you. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to Frank and Candid. All right. Let's try the next one. Good morning. Welcome. Good morning, caller. You're live.
Good morning, Mr. Nair.
Hey, good morning.
And good morning to the listeners home and abroad. Charles Brown here. Mr. Nair, something troubling me here. Well, it's an observation, and I hope it's fake news. This morning, many hundreds and thousands of us in this federation, yesterday, we received a text message saying the Amory Bakery on Thursday, when we are allowed to go out from our cages, that he will be selling the bread. You buy one and you get a tin of Venus sausage, tin of tuna, or you get a kids package for your kids. This morning, thousands and hundreds of us receive a text message saying that the government asked Mr. Emery, or the NOC asked Mr. Emery not to do any giveaways until the state of emergency is lifted. Mr. Nurse, I hope this is fake news. Because if this is not fake news, and you, I must say us, are going to allow to line up tomorrow to buy bread and other things, and Mr. Ernest Emery, who have been so helpful in this pandemic to many citizens in giving away something, and they ask him to stop, this is very shameful and disgraceful. We hope it's fake news. Because, Mr. Noyes, it's so many people in this federation, like I keep telling you week after week, need that little help. As small as it is very helpful to many families. Nobody is asking how people are eating, how people are feeding the family in this lockdown. But people coming around and telling you, in this lockdown, you must go to health centers to take a vaccine. Can they feed the family with that? Can that pay any bills tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday? We better watch what we're doing. We better watch what we're saying. Because like I said yesterday, when this pandemic and this war they claim is over, we are going to be punishing a lot of people. Mr. Noyes, another thing is, I'm going to address this again, is the CPL games is going to be going on. Because Mr. Noyes, it's very upsetting that our local games cannot go on, but an international games can come in the same stadium where they tell us a couple weeks ago we cannot go to watch our own local football. But just across from the football field, we must go out in a couple of weeks to watch CPL. Mr. Noyes, something seems to be going on wrong with us. Something is absolutely wrong with us. We are told to fast and pray. Nobody asks us if we got a tin of food, so we must fast and pray for the next 6 months when the state of emergency is up. And while those who are telling us fast and pray, they're eating lavishly, while many families and many people is crying for some help, a little food in the cupboard, a little gas for $30 in the house to cook. Don't talk about the many bills and the many interest that is piling up on us while we are in this lockdown. Nobody's saying what will happen to all those people who haven't worked since March and the last year. Where is the stimulus package for them? Many months ago, the Prime Minister said there's a second stimulus package where the first one ain't even finished. And up to now, $1 ain't pay for the second stimulus package. Now we're hearing there's another stimulus package coming out. Why are we cheating our own people so who just voted for us just over a year in the last election? Run up and down to make sure that this country go back, put it this way, in stable hand. And now this is the stableness we get in.
Okay.
Like I said, are gone.
All right.
we're going to punish a lot of people very soon.
All right, you've said your piece. I hear you. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to Frank and Candid.
Yes, brother, nice. It's Colungi again.
Yes, Colungi.
I was talking about the patent and the vaccines, right?
Yes.
The reason why there's a patent on the vaccine is because the people who produce it want to make a lot of money.
Okay.
For instance, South Africa and I think India, South Africa could make vaccines. They got the capability. So they went to the World Trade Organization to tell them, well, lift the ban. Even President Biden was talking about that. Mm-hmm. But the people who making the money from these vaccines were so great to help humanity in a pandemic. Why is it you don't want to lift the ban? Even Bill Gates said he don't believe in lifting the ban. So we could see. You see what I'm saying to you, my brother? Anytime anybody come up with a different reason or argument concerning the vaccines, because a lot of countries have stopped using the AstraZeneca, the one we're using. But I'm looking at it from a money-making standpoint, because these countries who are affected, so we look here, well, you don't give us the mechanism in how you produce this vaccine, so we could use it for people. The people who produce the vaccine say, no, it's all about making money. You see what I'm saying? Okay. And if we're in a pandemic, and all are concerned about making money, you have to really think and answer to yourself, well, something is wrong here. Because they went to the World Trade Organization to lift the ban here. They said, no, we're the one who produces vaccine, so you got to buy it from us. And that is what is happening. I'm not even looking at it from a standpoint where the vaccine is dangerous to people, because that has been out there. And what I'm saying is that when people raise these issues, the so-called establishment say those are conspiracy theories. And the evidence is there to show that these vaccines are damaging people. So we are saying to you, why is it the establishment is saying that when you raise something about the vaccines, they say no, it's a conspiracy theory. But when they're telling you, right, that, yeah, if you take the vaccine, it can stop you from getting the virus, but you wouldn't die. We don't know that for sure. This is what I'm saying to you, is that we have to look at these things critically and ask questions. I'm looking at it from the standpoint that they're making money. Only because the elites in the world, their income have risen 1 million-fold since this pandemic, you know. You take the rich people in the world like Bezos and them. This guy got $180 billion, you know. That's what he worth. And he invests in some of these vaccine companies. Take up somebody like Bill Gates, right? Bill Gates owns Moderna. Moderna have never produced a vaccine before this one. Those are the realities, and when we raise these questions, people saying that those are conspiracy theories. Bill Gates is out there saying that he wants to reduce the world population. These things are real. And when people raise questions, they come, oh, that's a conspiracy theory. We gotta be real here and understand what is going on, man. You're gonna tell me that this Tuskegee experiment was a conspiracy theory? The CDC, one of the leading agencies in the United States, is the one who produced the Tuskegee experiment and tell our people that they was just checking for bad blood. These are questions. I mean, the history is there to back up our argument. But when we bring these things forward, we know that the United States, take Anthony Fauci, the email states clearly, he's the one who sent the money to Wuhan to develop the gain-of-function research. Gain-of-function research is when they take a virus from the natural surroundings, you understand, and take it into a lab and boost it up to infect humans. It's in his emails. The United States government is the one who is responsible for this thing. And we are not asking these questions. You say, okay, the lab in China. It's an American lab, just like Ross University is an American university here. But people are not talking about these things. When we raise them, that's a conspiracy theory.
Okay.
Dr. Fauci emails is not a conspiracy theory. And I'll just leave you by this. What Granny say? Plant weed. What Granny say? Buy local. What Granny say? Support your own. What Granny say? Develop our own vaccines. Because we can't trust these people. Give thanks, one love.
Okay, let's go back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to Frank and Candid. Good morning, caller. You're live. Okay. Good morning. You're live.
You hearing me?
I am hearing you.
Yes, good morning. Everybody have their own thing to say. But some of them sound so foolish. If they don't want to take the vaccine, don't take it. And they just coming on and abusing the government. And is the government helping him to give him a job? If you don't want nothing from the government, leave. See you, thanks.
Okay. Opinions are free. All right. Facts are not necessarily.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead, caller.
Yeah, Tony?
Yes, go ahead.
Everybody's opinion is opinion. They have a right to opinion. But you ever hear the CMO or the Chief of Staff or the Prime Minister, anyone on the task force, hold any gun to anybody's head and tell them, go there, go take the injection? The vaccine, no. Everybody have a right to ask people to do what they think is right and what they know is right. So who want it, it's up to them. That's their right. And who don't want it, it's up to them. That's their right. I'm done with that. Tony, I have an idea. Sometime I mentioned about my idea, but it was the wrong place. Brimstone Hill should not be used for things like that. I was wondering if it would not be a wise thing if they could construct a tramway, like what you got in Yacht Haven in St. Thomas, over at Timothy Hill, someplace over it.
Okay.
That would be an attraction for people, whether local and tourists, to go up and get a tramway where it go down. That's a good idea. And let me tell my partner, Carl Bronx. You see me? Carl, you come in with your stopping it about hundreds and thousands of people get WhatsApp and email from Mr. Emery. No hundreds and thousands of people get nothing from Mr. Emery. Whatever Mr. Emery decides to do, that is his right. And nobody stopped Mr. Emery from doing nothing. So when you come on when the radio, you're talking, you're stupid. Everybody know you'd like to pick up Gabby and run with it. That's why I come on there to you. Just like the other day on the Facebook, you bruise hell out of the CMO and the Chief of Staff and the whole task force. So they're giving people vaccine to kill them, and people must not take no effing vaccine. You boys on the thing been saying that. You think you have any right to be saying them kind of thing, whether on Facebook or whatever? Why you never come on the phone and say what you say on the Facebook? You walking up there, and you very anti-medical health. You're not supposed to be in that institution. You have a right to talk, but you must talk the right things. And that things that are destructive to progress in this country. But Mr. Amory, but they want to stop Mr. Amory from this and that. Eh? Come on, man. You don't pick up people gathering and run with it and talk about the stimulus package. Listen what when the FIP say in Parliament Monday before you talk. Talk about what you say about the hospital. Who killing who and who want to poison who. Huh. I mustn't be some man.
All right.
Thank you, Tony.
Let's go back to the phones. See if we can get a couple more calls in here. Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, Brother Tony.
Hey, good morning, politics.
Yeah, Brother Tony, this morning I just want to thank God for the rain. Thank the Father for keeping me, guiding me, and thank God for the Federation of St. Kitts Nevis. The soil are you on right now, we on.
The bull is okay? You don't take care of the bull?
Oh, the bull all right, man.
Okay.
Get them all right.
Okay.
Get them all right.
Okay,
they're all right. They're good on. Somebody can with one, but I still can make a contribution in spite of where we're going. In spite of where we're going.
Well, again? There's more bull again? They got more bull?
No, somebody can with one. You make about a long time one now.
Oh, okay.
I want to get over $3,000 of that, but that let it go. They want it more than me.
Okay.
You understand?
Protect your bull.
Now, my little put this morning.
Yes.
Is about the Honorable Prime Minister when he was making his remarks, when he was closing down the country. Now, the Honorable Prime Minister said that people who come from the country especially, instead you stand there in long line, waiting and shopping and getting to go in the supermarket. Go home, use what you got, and fast. Because I know what the Honorable Prime Minister means. Because shop in the community where they live. And make sure they can buy things there. Shop in almost every community in St. Kitts. You understand? And I just want to tell some of them that we say we are 98% literate in this country. And I sure that the 98% literate people in this country supposed to know what the Prime Minister mean and what the Prime Minister said. Do not bring higher political ignorance and arrogantness and the Prime Minister shock, telling the Prime Minister he want to see people dead, he want to see this, he want to starve people and all kind of thing. You understand? People work and save the money, and this COVID teaches a lesson. And a person like a man like Carbone who don't work hard. Work hard. Carbone work at the hospital, Carbone used to do a little truckage. And Carbone do most and many things. You saw it like work bus down to and all kind of thing. And when I hear people like Carbone coming on the way to balling, I want to know where Carbone take his money and do. You understand? I would like to know where he taking money and do. Brother Tony, and next thing again.
Quickly.
And next thing again, right? You got some people did a little contribution, so there was, and they had gift, you know, they had a drive-through gift. Because a young lady from a quarantine site, they met a voice note with her, with Chelsea family them, so that Chelsea family them in a quarantine, and nobody bringing nothing for them, and doing nothing for them. And I know that young lady, she got people could have more than help her, but they do it political. So this drive-through is going on and picking up things, saying they're helping people. It comes from this young lady, just political, and talking about she hungry and all those things. You understand? With nothing far from the truth.
Okay.
She was in the hospital for some time because she had the COVID. And when they give the food, she showed the food so she don't want no government food.
All right.
I
gotta go. We're gonna leave it there. I don't make that kind of judgment there. Thank you all for your calls. We will be back here tomorrow, if it is to be, with another topic, another conversation. I'm Tony Nias. You enjoy the rest of your day.